Good evening. Canada's Postal Workers Union telling CHCH tonight it's preparing a new counteroffer for Canada Post that would keep negotiations alive after the two sides avoided a full-scale national postal strike overnight. Al Sweeney is covering the story for us and joins us live in studio with the latest. Al.
Matt, it's not all labor peace at the post office. The Postal Workers Union decided against a strike, but instead it's banning overtime. The post office says that won't shut them down, but could delay operations. At the post office today, workers were on the job.
We're still at work. That's a really important thing. It's very important because we didn't want to cause any disruptions.
But the union is telling its 55,000 members across the country not to work any overtime.
We did impose a small strike action of an overtime ban. We felt that that was the least amount of impact to the public, as I mentioned, and to our members, but still protecting our right to strike if needed to protect the members.
She says she sees progress in what's happening, and the union will be presenting a new offer to Canada Post in the next 2 days.
Canada Post continues to operate today, but we're operating on fumes, essentially.
But Canada Post says that overtime ban could cause delays on top of the threat of a strike that's still there.
The threat of a strike and all the uncertainty that that creates means that our business is way down, and the longer this goes on, the worse that's going to get.
So far, Canada Post has offered a 13% wage increase over 4 years, while the union is asking for 19% to keep up with inflation. This follows a strike last November that dragged on for a month. And a labor studies professor from Brock University says there's a bigger issue to deal with: how the post office can adapt to a changing economy while it's losing money.
It's important to emphasize that this particular round of bargaining is really just a battle in a much larger war about the future of Canada Post and its mandate. There is a question about whether Canada Post should be expected to turn a profit. After all, it is a public service. We don't expect schools or hospitals or prisons to operate on a for-profit basis. So why is Canada Post being held to a different standard?
While the Canadian Federation of Independent Business says it'll be watching to see if the overtime ban is enough to hurt small business.
If, a package is delayed or consumers don't get their goods within a certain amount of time under provincial legislation, consumers are then in their right to request a refund. So this will cause burden and financial repercussions and reputational repercussions on business owners.
And both sides in the Canada Post dispute say they're struggling with the uncertainty. So no matter what happens in these negotiations, Canada Post says its future looks bleak unless they can make some fundamental changes in their operations. And there are calls today for the new Prime Minister to step in and make the provision of postal service to Canadians more important than a post office that makes money.